back, everyone. Another episode of the Steel Target Paid podcast. You know the drill. I'm Jeff Jones, and my partner in crime.
I'm Steve Foster. How's it going, Jeff?
It's going well, Steve. I saw on Facebook you were shooting the local match at CMP this weekend. How was that? That go off well?
Yeah, it was good. You know, it's one of those. Carl and his group do such an amazing job. You can tell when you got a good shooter that puts together a great match. I mean, waters at every bay. There was cover at every bay. I mean, it was a great match. But you know, Jeff, starting to kind of hit it kind of hard, and man, I was shooting well. I shot I think it was a 709 on with rimfire rifle open, 709 on accelerator. It was like, okay, I could push it a little bit harder, get to outer limits, and yeah, I pushed it real hard out of the gate. Had a miss on plate number 2, I think it was. And so I was just dialed it back in. So I shot like a 950 on outer limits. I'm like, okay, let's do this. And you know, I had 4 good stages going. Got to the 5th stage, which was 5 to go, and I'm still not sure what happened. I thought I broke a firing pin. Anyway, I had to eat a malfunction, and got to Smoke and Hope. Had to eat another malfunction. I'm like, what in the heck is going on? The only thing I thought is, you know what? I'm using different mags than what I used to for my JP 22. So I switched out the mags and shot the last 2 stages, and yeah, I shot well, shot a 62, but boy, I was really trying to hit something that started with a 5, you know what I mean? But hey, you know, there's more meat on that bone. But I shot with Caleb Peterson. He shot another sub 70, which is great. And Abby Jasharm, she shot. It was always great spending time with them. And Caleb's dad, Richard, shot rimfire pistol open for the first time, and Patty Desharm shot rimfire pistol on it. Man, it was a cool family event. It was a great time, man. How about you? Did you do any shooting this weekend?
I did. You know, I got to the range. I went to the range today, oddly enough, to do a little practice of 5 to go. You mentioned 5 to go.
Yeah.
And, you know, last couple of years, I've just been trying to maintain my speed, but I realized I got to start trying to get a little faster. And so I went to myself, well, let me look at, you know, where I finished. I didn't shoot great this year just because of the shoulder, but I looked and I went, oh, there's Steve. Let's see what Steve did. You know, so I pulled up your practice score competitor. If you use the AMG lab timers, it's awesome. You can go in, you can look at draw times and splits. So I pull up your stage. I'm like, okay, wow, Steve's doing like 27 splits to that second plate. Oh God. Okay. And I'm like, oh, I'm gonna have to push this. So I get out there and I shoot like 10 strings. And I can't get better than maybe a 35, 36 split to the second plate.
Sure.
I'm like, what is he doing?
Yeah.
I am even just like doing what I call the wild thing, which is just go through the motions, you know, don't worry, just go. And I couldn't get close. I think when I did that, I maybe got to like a 29.
Sure.
So I went back into this practice score competitor, and then I realized I was looking at your accelerator scores. So then I went back to your 5.
Small difference, right?
Yeah. Transition to the second plate and accelerate. So actually, if I could get them to change the second plate in 5 to go to an 18 by 24.
You'd be rolling.
So that was funny, but yeah, I had a good time. Actually, you know, sticking with the pistols and broke out the open gun.
Oh, really?
Well. Yep. So did some rimfire pistol optic, some carry optic, and then open. And I did some modification. I had a new thumb safety put on the gun, which is lowered. I have small hands that double stack, and I was getting a knot developing on my hand because of the way it was cocked up there, trying to get my thumb on the safety and still have a good grip. So I put a new thumb safety on there and had to come home, do some slight modifications to it. Filed off a little bit, there was a little part that was biting me, and hopefully tomorrow I'll get back to the range and do some training and see how it goes there. So,
Oh, that's awesome. That's a good deal.
so are you aware that at the end of May there was a board meeting?
I am aware.
And
I'm not
do
sure
you know?
I'm not sure if everybody else is though.
Well, yes. So for those that aren't aware, if you are a member of Steel Challenge, you're also a member of the USPSA, and the board minute meetings, while there is a link on the Steel Challenge site, it's going to take you to the USPSA site.
Right.
So on there, they list the minutes. And in the May 31st meeting, they brought up for a vote and have passed the new peak times. So
Awesome.
I thought we'd, yeah, and let me just share for everyone. I've been working with the organization for 5 or 6 years now, helping come up with what the peak time adjustment should be. And the first couple of years, I didn't know enough about the game. And so we had used an algorithm that took a single shooter's best score ever at any WSSC
Sure.
and then averaged that.
Yep.
And the reason we did that, and the classic one I always use, is if we were to take the top 10 scores in limited, 6 of them would be BJ Norris.
Right.
So we didn't want to have a division defined by a single person.
Right.
So as we did that, there were some couple of years ago, there were some radical changes that we made. And so I sat back and I looked at, coming up with a different algorithm. And the algorithm now is you take the current WSSC, and for every division, for every stage, you take all of the times that are between 95 and 110%.
Okay.
And then you average that. And that comes up with the first piece to say, this is what that average is. We then compare that to the current ones. And if it's within like a tenth of a second, we're like, why bother changing it?
Right.
Okay. And if it's actually, I think we went a little higher because we maintained the quarter second divisional time in the thing. So there's no, we're not going to have a peak time of 8.13. Yeah. Right. It goes 8.25, then 8.5 and so forth. So with that, we came up with the recommendations and we looked at stuff and let me turn that off. We looked at it and came up with the adjustments, and most of them are relatively they're needed. I had a couple people say to me, wow, you're making a big change to carry optics. Carry optics is overall is going from a 94 down to a 92.5. And what I was telling them was, we've never made any changes in carry optics because there's never been enough competitors.
Right.
Now that division is becoming one of the bigger centerfire divisions. I think second, it might run 1-2 against open. Clearly bigger than sometimes the other ones combined. Single stack limited production, ISR and OSR. So that one's getting a pretty big change. Most of the other changes are within a second, except for PCC iron. That's another one where we're getting a lot of people that are really looking at how to shoot that gun and needing to change the numbers. Does that make sense?
Yep, absolutely.
And if you remember, I mean, think about it. When I first started this game, if you shot a 75 in RFRO, you were going to win the match.
Or at least top 3.
Yes. And now if you break 60, you still might not win.
Not at big matches, that's for sure.
Yeah. It's so we're not going to go over all the different adjustments. If you're interested, please go to again those board of director minutes links, and you can download the document and you look at what the changes are. Now, here's the good thing for everybody. These changes don't take effect until January 1, 2024.
Got it.
So if you're looking to drive yourself to the current GM standards or the current next class standards, you've got 6 months to do it. Which I think is pretty cool too, because you know what's coming down, and you know what you got to strive for, and you know what you got to work towards. Because again, I'll have to go look at mine after the changes make, but some of my GMs are like my rimfire pistol iron is like right on the cusp, and we're adjusting that one by a second. So
Sure.
mine actually might move down to I'll maintain my GM in it, but the percentage might drop below 95%. And that's okay.
Yeah.
And you know, do you know if that happens to you, do you know what your next steps can be?
I do, Jeff.
Well, let's hear it.
Well, number one, you can stay exactly where you're at. So let's say you end up being 94% and still a grandmaster. You can continue to compete at that level and try to bump that percentage up if you want, or you can petition Steel Challenge and get your classification moved down. So Zach will run some run some information. Good friend of mine actually has had some health related issues, and he recently got reclassified, and now he should be somewhat competitive in his new classification. So that's exciting. He was pretty pumped about it too. So it was a quick process. I think it's good. At least at that time, right?
Yes, I agree. I mean, I've always believed that while not necessarily, if you don't want to consider the peak times rules, the peak times are part of the game. And if you change that part of the game, someone should be able to adjust accordingly based on their current shooting skills. Right. If they choose to. You know, for a guy like myself, I earned that GM. I'm never losing that GM. For me, It's going to be like, okay, now I got to pick up this freaking rimfire pistol iron. Go remember how to shoot it fast.
Man, I'm telling you what, open's the same way, because I don't shoot open that often, but yeah, I think it could be a combination of two things. One is that the peak time has gone down, and two, some of my older times that are 2 years ago and beyond have fallen off. So my percentage is not as competitive as a master as it used to be. So I'm gonna have to make a decision there. And same thing with carry optics. It's not quite as noticeable there, but same thing, it's dropped quite a bit. So yeah, we'll see.
Again, their guidelines. The fact of the matter is, when you're competing in a class, it definitely makes a difference. And it's interesting you talk about times that fell off, because take for instance myself, that say didn't shoot. I haven't. In fact, right now, if you're going to look at my single stack.
Yeah.
I have no scores on the website for single stack.
Right.
Because I haven't shot it in current year +2. Because I can't see the front sights.
I think my production's the same way. I think I shot that at the World Speed Shoot back in 2012 or something like that.
I remember that, because I believe, wasn't that you shooting the 365?
No. So that was later. I think I may have shot that in limited. Maybe it was production. Maybe
Okay.
I'm confusing the limited, but yeah, you know what? That could be that certainly could be. Yeah, it was whew, that was a humbling experience. I shot one stage, I think pretty well. The rest of them, not so well.
Smoke
But
and hope is easy is relatively easy with most guns, but I always joke with people that come out to the range and they're like, "Oh, I want to shoot Steel Challenge." I'm like, "Great." I said, "Well, what gun would you like to shoot?" "Oh, I just got a new Glock, or I just got a new Smith and Wesson, or new Sig Legion." And I'm like, "Do you have a 22?"
yeah,
Because you're
exactly.
going to have a lot of fun with Roundabout and Smoke and Hope. And when you get to 5 to go in Pendulum, you're going to wish you'd taken my advice.
That's exactly right.
Now, some people do just fine. I mean, there are people that are very accurate, but it is a different game.
It is a very different game.
So,
Jeez.
well, that's a good little discussion on that. There was a big match that happened this weekend?
There was area 3?
Nope, close. Area 3 was last weekend. Pick another
Area
number.
1.
Area 1,
Area 1.
absolutely correct. Uh, they had a very good turnout. Looking at the stats, it looks like they had 180 people finish the match, which is a really good sized area match.
180 people or 180
180
guns?
guns. 180 guns.
Okay.
Sorry,
Yeah.
180 guns, which is a good sized match. Lots of names that aren't in Area 3 shot the match. One of our good friends, Trenton Mitsuoka, who we know is in Area 2, but he went out to the match to shoot it. And Kylie Wells was there. And there were still a lot of Area 1 competitors. I don't know how many yet. That's something Zach has to do. I have to give Zach I've written a program to take the data and come up with the potential winner. And then Zach has to go through and adjust it based on if that person is in the area. And this
I gotcha.
is for we're gathering data for presenting the proposal for a slot policy.
Sure.
To be able to give the board an idea of how many slots are going to be given out. And for those that are listening, and you don't know what the slot policy is, we're still writing it. We've got an algorithm, a program that goes through. We're not going to talk about it here because it's not finalized yet. But what a slot allows you to do is register early.
Oh, love that.
Yes. I still think there's going to be a mad rush when registration opens up for everybody that gets a slot.
Sure.
Because you're still going to have, at least 100 people wanting to get into Practice Score and get registered. Because let's face it, the Friday, Saturday, Sunday slots are the ones that everybody wants.
Yeah.
It's not surprising. It's how it works. But it's definitely going to make it a lot easier for the open registration.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well,
So
that'll be
for
good.
everybody that's interested, there's been 2 area matches, and if you're listening and you're thinking about shooting an area match and you're not sure if you're on the fence, my recommendation would be to go shoot it, because there may be a potential for you to earn a slot for the WSSC in 2024. Which is, again, going to be at the CMP, which I am very excited about. I like that range.
Love the range. It'll be interesting to see if I know there's some scuttlebutt at the match and after the announcement was made about moving it someplace else. But man, it's a great location, and there's a lot of shooting in the South. I'll tell you a quick little story. I was talking with somebody, one of my northern friends, somebody that and we were talking about major matches, and I shared, a couple of years ago, I'd shoot anywhere from 10 to 13 major matches a year, and really didn't have to drive all that far for the majority of them. Maybe 2 that were more than 6 hours away. Everything else was within 6 hours. and some of that was steel challenge, and some was good old faithful rimfire challenge. I think back in 16 or 17, I shot 5 or 6 major rimfire challenge matches a year. Unfortunately, kind of died out in the Southeast, but Mississippi had a match, and um, Florida, Alabama, Georgia, South Carolina, Tennessee's picked up some. And so there's a lot of duplication between steel challenge state matches as well as rimfire challenge matches. Then you have the U.S. steel shoot, and now the world speed shoot over here. But across the country, we need to beef up the participation, and I think that's I think that's why the CMP ended up being such a hotbed for shooting, and that's why we have some well attended WSSC matches. But yeah, it was just interesting. We were kind of going back and forth over a text message about shooting major matches, and he was talking about, I'm gonna have to travel a lot to shoot 6 or 7 matches, and it's like, well, back in the day. And Jeff, just so you know, I've become the Steel Challenge historian, both in terms of people and matches, and
okay,
and
all
so
right,
on and so forth.
Let's hear some of this. Let's hear some. Let's give us a little history.
No, it's just well, remember that person? They're like, no. Well, back in the day, hey, remember that person? No, back in the day. Now we're just talking about some people that used to shoot a lot. And there was somebody that I saw on Facebook that was a really good Steel Challenge shooter, USPSA shooter, and he no longer shoots. And yeah, I think a lot of them, get their 3-4 years in, and then life takes a toll. But I did have probably one of the biggest compliments that I've had in a long time.
Was it on your beard? Was it about your beard?
No. Brian Conley gave me a couple of compliments on the beard, so I appreciate that. But we were over at the local match this weekend. I will leave the names of the innocent out of it, but he was very complimentary. He says, "Hey, it's an honor to shoot with you." Yes, man. It's an honor to shoot with you. And he's like, no, you don't understand. He's like, you're the fastest guy that I know that's got a mortgage. So I thought that was pretty funny. So anyway, it was just. Man, I died.
That is
I died.
Funny.
I wish you were there. You would have got a kick out of it.
Oh my Lord, that is a hoot. That is a hoot.
But I think the other part that I'll share is that's one of the things that I miss from traveling around to go to different local matches, let alone bigger matches across the country, is you get to meet so many people that may not shoot a lot of local matches. And Brian with Hunters HD Gold's got a contest out there, and go out to his website and social media platforms. You'll find the rules, and he's doing an incentive to incent people to shoot and participate in level 1 steel challenge matches. And make sure you read the rules, because him and I went through that yesterday. A lot of people aren't reading the rules.
Yep, what you got to do. Make sure.
When you're submitting. So, but it's the moral of the story is it's so much fun to get and meet people, and some of these folks on social media, and it's good because you do see a lot of it's like a family reunion when you go to these bigger matches. But the other part that I really enjoy, Jeff, is meeting new people and people that you may not necessarily know, or maybe some people that you've talked with briefly on social media, meeting them out in range. I don't know, man. That's so much fun. I really enjoyed that this weekend.
Yeah, no, that's really good. And to your point, we want to bring more information out to the people. So I do have the current major match schedule coming up, and so next weekend is Area 5 in Terre Haute, Indiana. So and that's always been a big match. Historically, that is the second largest steel challenge match behind WSSC. So I don't know how many people are signed up for that yet, but I believe Steve Wright is the range master, and I believe Janice might be the match director. So they do a great job out there. That whole crew out there in Area 5 does a great job. That's always been a big match. So that's one definitely coming up next week. Now, the following week, you have the Missouri State Championships. And that's going to be in Newburgh, Missouri.
That's going to be a fast match. There's going to be some good people there.
Yeah, that's Nick's match too, isn't it? Is Missouri Nick Rant?
No,
No,
Mississippi, and I'm not sure if he's
Mississippi.
running
It was one of them M
Mississippi.
states.
Yeah, yep. It's over there somewhere.
It's over there somewhere. So that's
It's
going to be in
west of me.
Newburgh, Missouri. Now the week after that is the Michigan State Steel Challenge Championships, and this is the one that we've talked about that's supporting Ryan Rock's Outdoor Adventures.
Yep.
That's going to be the weekend of the 23rd through the 25th. Then towards the end of July, we've got Area 8 in Wampum, Pennsylvania. And that's going to be July 20th through the 23rd. And then rounding out July, for those that want to go shoot internationally, the Canadian National Steel Challenge Championships are happening the same weekend as Area 8 up in, and oh boy, I'm going to butcher this, Kananaskis, Alberta. So
I'd buy that. I'd buy that for $1.50, Jeff. I think you did a great job with that. Fantastic.
So, for those in Canada that are listening, you've got your national championships up there in Alberta. So, yeah. So we got there. I mean, I do remember one year. I definitely didn't shoot as much as you, but we had, there was the Georgia State, and there was a couple of other level 2s in Georgia. Now this year, Alan Coleman's putting on a match, and then of course Jamie's match we've talked about is now going to be the Area 6 match. Which, by the way, editorial privilege here. I said that match was staying the same price at $60. I was incorrect, and I apologize to everyone that has found that out. That match is actually $75.
Yep.
And for everyone that is listening, matches are always in need of ROs. So if you have an interest in helping out a match, this match specifically, because I'm not going to be shooting as many guns as I usually try to shoot in a match, I'm actually going to go up and shoot RO day and then work the match for Jamie. And I'm working on getting some other people down in my area to come up there and help. It's a great match, but it takes a lot of people to put it on. And he usually has painters. Unless you want to paint a plate, you don't have to paint a plate at his match, which is pretty cool.
Absolutely. That's how it should be done, Jeff. We've talked about that 100 times.
We've done it every year. Maybe not, it's the first couple of years at the West Florida, we had the Custom and Border Patrol Explorers.
Yep.
Lately it's just been juniors and other people I can get to help at the West Florida. You might have to paint Smoke and Hope a roundabout, but guarantee you're not painting Accelerator Showdown. I've got runners that are taking care of those. So that's good.
You know what else I'm not going to call out this particular person by name because I don't know if they want to remain anonymous or not, but there was somebody that was reaching out to.
I'll call
do you know what I
have no idea.
Okay. All right. I was about to say, man, dang, you're good, Jeff. I know we think a very similar train of thought most of the time, but I'm impressed. Yeah, there's somebody that has stepped up at the Mississippi State Steel Challenge Championship that's reached out to some junior shooters to pay for their match entry fees. And somebody that I've known in the sport for 7-8 years now. And so I think that's absolutely fantastic. So I don't know if it's hey, if you want to shoot it, they'll pay for it. But I do know that there's been more than a couple of people that they've reached out to, and he was paying for all the match entry fees for the junior shooters. So, I'll see if I can get clarification on, throwing their name out there, because I think those types of good deeds are great. And more than likely, he won't want his name mentioned, because there's a lot of people that do a lot of great things that do it because they want to, and not because they
not doing
want
it for the promotion.
Yep. Exactly right. But you know who you are, and it's just another great thing about this sport for sure. So that's awesome.
Well, that is awesome. That is very cool. There's a lot of places I know. There's a lot of matches where juniors shoot for half price. We have a policy at the WAC where juniors shoot free. And just, I'm not calling out anybody out. I'm not saying you should do this. We have this very specifically, and I'll just give you a little history. We run an annual event called the Doc Welt Memorial Match. Yep. Doc was a Navy SEAL medic, and 10 years ago, I believe it was, he was diagnosed with ALS. And so they put on a memorial match for him to help out his family. All the proceeds went to the family. The following year, Doc was not doing well. He knew he was not long for this world. And he made a request that said, they said, well, what do you want us to do with the money? He's like, keep the money. My family is set. They're all covered, through whatever means he'd set up. He goes, I want the money from the match to go to the juniors.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so that started and reinforced at the WAC junior shoot for free.
Yep. That's awesome.
So
even this weekend at the Talladega CMP match, first gun you paid for the junior, and then second one was free. So that was really cool.
Yeah.
It's great. It's great sport.
Well, again, it's funny. I always joke, probably going to get in trouble for this, but they always say, the juniors are our future. Juniors are the future of the sport. And I always joke and I say, middle-aged white men are the future of this sport. We're the ones that are paying for everything.
That's pretty funny.
But it is a good thing, to try to bring somebody along and help them out in any way you can. How many times have you been at a match when you're able to give, a junior a little bit of help, and you see that, translate into faster times? That's just fun.
Yeah.
It just makes it all worthwhile.
For sure.
All right. Well, we talked the schedule. We talked peak times. You got anything else you want to bring to the people for tonight?
One follow-up from last go around, had a conversation with my manufacturing guy, and here next week we're going to start manufacturing on the grips and magwells, and got the anodizer lined up. So if you're interested on the first release, just send me a message. I've got overwhelming support to get going.
Steve, this is Jeff.
Yes.
I'm sending you a message. I want a set of grips.
I got you. Oh man, had them out this weekend. It did. I like that. Had them out this weekend, and just humbled by the positive feedback from folks out on the range. So that was really cool. But if you're interested, reach out to me. I'm gonna try to do a little bit of a discount for the first group of people that order. We're still trying to finalize a couple of pieces on the pricing side, and I'll talk more about that as we get just a little bit closer. Manufacturing is expensive, raw materials are expensive, and so on and so forth. But no, it should be hopefully in line with what people would expect to pay for something like this. So that will be good. But I've got a pretty decent sized list, humbled by the support from the community already. So if you're interested, get on the list. I had a couple of people send me notes today. Let me know. We'll get you rock and rolling. We're going to anodize the first set black. And so I got that all set up. And, the other cool part about this is 100% of this project is being designed and manufactured and finished in the United States, which is something that I'm extremely proud of. There's some opportunities to maybe save a couple bucks to send it overseas and those kind of things, but no way, man. So I'm pretty proud of that. So
very cool. Yeah, very cool.
August 1st is what I'm targeting to start shipping. So hopefully everything stays on track, and we'll be shipping some grips and magwells pretty soon.
Fantastic. Now, where is the best way for people to reach out to you, or the different ways they can reach out to you?
The best way is it'll be branded Creekside Custom. So you can reach out to me on any of my social media platforms, Foster Shooting, on my personal Facebook page, Steve Foster, or Steve Foster Competitor, or Creekside Custom Lasering on Facebook or Instagram, or you can send me an email at creeksidecustomlasering@gmail.com. So any one of those
you know,
ways
for those that like to use the telephone, Steve's phone number is 555. Actually, I'm sure a lot of people already have your number. I know you're happy to give it out to a lot of people, so I'm sure they've already got it. But
I think probably half the people that listen to the podcast have my number. If not, send me a message. I'll send you my number in case you got any questions while you're at the range.
All right.
Which I don't mind.
This at 2 a.m, do not call Steve. He's sleeping.
I need to use that silence notifications function on the iPhone. I gotta ask one of my kids how to do
it. All right. Great, Steve. Well, again, great talking with you. I think we're, these kind of short, quick ones are working out better, and I hope everybody likes them. Again, if you have any topics you'd like us to talk about, please share it on the Steel Target Paint podcast. One of the things that we've learned is, we took the podcast page private, and we did that so we could stop the inundation of t-shirt spam and all the other spam that was happening. So it's a little more difficult to share posts when you take a group private. So you can get notifications hopefully wherever you're actually signing up and listening to this, whether that's off of SoundCloud or off of iTunes. It's there. I think Stitcher, I think, is another place where we have it. We had some requests to did that, and we did that there.
Yep.
But get on to Facebook, find the Steel Target Paint podcast page. Pretty much if you've got more than one shooting friend, we're gonna let you in. It doesn't have to be me, it doesn't have to be Steve. But that's also where we're going to be posting when the links to this for an extra bit of notification when they're ready.
And also, Jeff, can we post the link to the minutes that have the new peak times? I'm not sure if we talked about that or not. Can we put that in the podcast page?
I can put that in the post. Yes.
Yeah, fantastic.
Right here, because I live by sticky pads, and I will make a note. BOD minutes post. Sounds good. All right, Steve.
Brother.
Well, hey, talking with you. No, we're not done yet, because you got to give out that discount code.
ST Podcast 10 for 10% off RageStore.net.
All right. Good talking with you, Steve. Thanks.
All right. We'll see you, Jeff.
Bye-bye.
Bye.